Hello and welcome to episode 1 of a series all about the fascinating and beautiful Graceland Cemetery, located in Chicago, Illinois. This series will consist of 4 episodes releasing weekly throughout the spooky month of October, which sounds fitting for a series all about a potentially haunted burial ground. But honestly, Graceland Cemetery is really amazing year-round and holds a lot of really neat history, monuments, and is the resting place for a lot of people you may have heard of in history class or on a late-night documentary your dad watched. In this episode, we will cover the history of Graceland Cemetery, how it was founded, and where it is now. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment below, and please stay till the end to get a sneak peek into the next 3 episodes. Let's get into it. Graceland Cemetery was founded in 1860, which is, in fact, a long-ass time ago. To put that into perspective for you, here's some quick facts. Chicago had only become a city in 1837, only 23 years prior to Graceland Cemetery's founding. The American Civil War went on from 1861 to 1865, starting only 1 year after it was founded. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, 5 years after the cemetery was founded. The Great Chicago Fire was in 1871, only 11 years after the cemetery was founded, and in 1860 there were only 33 out of 50 states in the United States of America. The cemetery was founded by Thomas Bryan, who had just moved to Chicago in 1852. Thomas was all over the damn place, as he was part of numerous organizations in Chicago and was even nominated to be mayor, twice. He was also a big part of the efforts to bring the World's Columbian Exposition to Chicago in 1893. This is only minorly related if you're interested in dark history like me, but Thomas Bryan was actually a victim of a huge scam that cost him over $9,000, which is a lot of money back then. His name was used on a number of documents in the scam company ABC Copier Company and many other scam firms as well. The one running this scam? None other than H.H. Holmes, America's first serial killer, notably known for the creation of the Murder Castle Hotel in the south side of Chicago in the 1890s. There's lots of videos and content about this. I encourage you to search it up if you're interested. Leave a comment if you do. Anyways, the first burial at Graceland Cemetery was actually Thomas Bryan's late son, Daniel Paige Bryan, with his remains having been removed from the city cemetery along with approximately 2,000 other individuals. The city cemetery had apparently been acquired illegally, and the bodies had to be moved to other surrounding cemeteries such as Graceland and Oakwood Cemetery. The bodies were moved just in time, honestly, because years after this was the Great Chicago Fire, which actually destroyed a good majority of the area, including all the wooden grave markers in the city cemetery. This left over 12,000 unmarked graves that still remain today under what is now Lincoln Park. Okay, back to Graceland. Graceland Cemetery was originally 80 acres, but was later expanded and was designed by landscape architects H.W. Cleveland, William LeBaron Jenney, and Ossian Simmons. William LeBaron Jenney is famously known for creating the first skyscraper, the Home Insurance Building in Chicago, and when he died, his ashes were scattered across his wife's grave in Graceland Cemetery. How sweet. H.W. Cleveland was another big name, as he was actually in the running to design New York City's Central Park with his partner Robert Morris Copeland, but lost. And Graceland Cemetery was actually Ossian's first architecture project. He did so well with the park that he was later named the Dean of Cemetery Design and was commissioned with his firm Simmons & Company to redesign and extend Lincoln Park. Ossian constructed a long-term plan for Graceland to incorporate native plants and naturalistic landscaping techniques, creating a Victorian-style park with plenty of trees, ponds, terraced lawns, and weaving paths. Graceland was constructed to be a garden-style cemetery, or a rural style, because of its park-like atmosphere. This was unique, as most urban cemeteries are typically sectarian and located in smaller areas within the city. Graceland Cemetery was obviously much larger than the typical cemetery in the area, especially today since it's been expanded, and was largely inspired by the English garden movement of the time. Almost right away, wealthy Chicagoans began purchasing family lots and landscape rooms, and many made sure to leave their mark in the form of spectacular-looking monuments that continued to catch eyes hundreds of years after their construction. Graceland Cemetery is a must-visit for anyone in the Chicago area in general, but especially if you are at all interested in history, architecture, cemeteries, grave monuments, ghost stories, and even landscaping, as this area has it all. It's located in Lincoln Park, north of Wrigley Field, with its main entrance on the corner of Irving Park Road and North Clark Street. It's only a short walk from the Red Line Sheridan stop. If you're heading south towards Sheridan, you can take a peek inside the cemetery from the L train before reaching the station. Or if you're heading north and miss your stop, you can still look longingly out your window at the beautiful park before backtracking. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. Also, just in case you are looking for the giant cemetery surrounded by the tall brick fence with iron spikes at the top. It can be confusing since right across the street on Irving Park Road there's another graveyard, Hebrew Benevolent Cemetery. Jokes aside, it does make me feel a certain way to be walking down the street with both cemeteries side by side. Lincoln Park is a pretty popular area of Chicago located just 7 miles north of the Loop. In the early years of Chicago's life, the majority of the population in Lincoln Park was made up of German truck farmers, and as such, the area was nicknamed the Cabbage Patch. In 1837, the eastern portion of Lincoln Park was designated as Chicago City Cemetery. However, due to various issues, it was later moved and redesignated as Lake Park. 1 year after that, in 1865, the area was named Lincoln Park after the late President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Unfortunately, much of Lincoln Park was destroyed after the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. Lincoln Park finally gained some more popularity after the Great Depression, and more factories and businesses opened in the area, bringing people who were looking for work. There was a lot of mob-related activity in the area as well, including the infamous Valentine's Day Massacre. In addition, just down the street from Graceland Cemetery on Irving Park Road, in 1945, American serial killer William Harrons committed one of 3 of his murders, this one notably known as the lipstick murder. I won't get into it in this video, however, it is pretty spooky the proximity in which it happened to the famous cemetery. Despite literally everything I just said, Lincoln Park is now a bustling residential area with popular attractions such as the free Lincoln Park Zoo, the Chicago History Museum, as well as various trails, beaches, restaurants, and bars. Nearby is also Wrigley Field, which is historical in itself and brings baseball fans from across the country. This is also something to keep in mind if you plan on commuting to visit Graceland Cemetery, as the Red Line will likely be packed on game days. The historical Graceland Cemetery in all of its glory now sits on 112 acres after negotiating with nearby Lakeview residents and expanding its walls eastward and northwest. It is a certified arboretum and is home to around 50 different types of trees, which you can see on the self-guided Graceland Cemetery tree tour. It is also a bustling bird habitat with many different types of songbirds, woodpeckers, and more being seen nesting here, as well as other wildlife like frogs, turtles, squirrels, and even coyotes. Yes, the cemetery in the middle of a residential suburb is home to 3 to 5 coyotes, who typically don't bother anybody, but let's not test that. While there has never been an attack or injury from coyotes at the cemetery, it's important to respect the animal and keep your distance both for your safety, its safety, and the safety of other visitors, as angering the coyote or even feeding the coyote could affect how it views people in the future. In addition to the wonderful wildlife, original buildings such as the chapel, crematorium, waiting room, and office still remain. Over the years, Graceland Cemetery has become the final resting place for numerous politicians, athletes, and other historical figures, even people who were involved in the Underground Railroad. It is also home to a large population of architects like Louis Sullivan, Daniel Burnham, and William LeBaron Jenney, giving the cemetery its nickname, the Cemetery of Architects. Also, I have great news. You too can be buried here amongst the greats. No, you don't have to be a super great inventor or mayor of the country, but if you are, that's cool too. Single casket spaces run around $5,000, or you can be cremated and put in the ground for $3,000, or cremated and put in a cute little cabinet for $7,000. That cabinet is actually called a columbarium. Cenotaphs also start at around $1,200, and none of these prices include your casket or grave marker. Not too bad, and hey, you have your whole life to save up for it. It has gained the attention of many, including history lovers, paranormal investigators, but unfortunately also grave robbers and vandals. The cemetery is surrounded by a large brick wall and is only open during daylight hours. The cemetery is open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, and from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekends during the fall and winter for visitors to enjoy. There are different hours during the spring and summer, allowing for visitors until 6 p.m. on the weekdays. If you like cemeteries, or parks, or cool monuments, or architecture, or history, actually, just in general, you should visit Graceland Cemetery in Chicago, Illinois. It should go without saying, but please be respectful as well and enjoy the amazing scenery and vibes of one of my favorite spots in the country. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you just take a minute to leave a like and subscribe. And stay tuned, as this is just episode 1 of a 4-part series all about Graceland Cemetery and its amazing history, scenery, and ghost stories. Also, leave a comment about what you find interesting about Graceland Cemetery and its history. This is such a fascinating topic, I'd love to hear what you think. Next episode, hear about the famous people who are laid to rest here, such as architect Louis Henry Sullivan, Baseball Hall of Famer Ernie Banks, industrialist George Pullman, and many others. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.